Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. This is Dr. Azam Ali from Department of Biochemistry. Today's video is a continuation of our previous topic, that was detection of unknown carbohydrate in the given sample. So in the previous session, we understood the principles of different tests that we perform to detect carbohydrate. These include Mollis's test, iodine test, Benedict test, Barfard test, and Selivanov test. So for the first three tests, we performed them and we saw their observation and inferences. And today's session, we will discuss and perform Barfard's test and Selivanov test. Just a quick recap of this scheme for the detection of carbohydrate. We first perform the Mollis's test, which is a general test for the detection of carbohydrate. And when this test is positive, we perform iodine test. And iodine test is specific for detection of polysaccharides. So if the test is positive, different polysaccharides will give different colors. And if the test is negative, it will give no color change. So then we perform Benedict test, which is specific for detection of reducing and non-reducing sugars. So we saw the appearance of red precipitation, which was pointing out that the Benedict test is positive and the given sample contains a reducing sugar. So today we'll perform Barfard's test and Selivanov test. Now this Barfard's test is specific for distinguishing between reducing monosaccharides and reducing disaccharides. Important here to know is that reducing monosaccharide are more potent reducing agents than the reducing disaccharides. So if the test is positive, we perform Selivanov test. Now once we come to know that the glucose or any other monosaccharide may be present, so we further want to differentiate whether it is a keto sugar or it is a aldo sugar. So for that we perform Selivanov test. So Barfard's test. The purpose of performing this test is to distinguish whether the reducing sugar is a monosaccharide or a disaccharide. Reagents required for the test are copper acetate and glacial acetic acid. Principle of Barfard's test is very much similar to that of Benedict test, but with few differences. In the Benedict test, the medium was alkaline, but here the medium is mildly acidic. In Benedict test, these cupric ions were provided by copper sulfate, but here these will be provided by copper acetate. So the monosaccharides are a stronger reducing agent than the disaccharide. So if the sample contains monosaccharide, then it will quickly reduce the cupric ions to cuprous ions. But if the sample contains a disaccharide, it can still give the result positive, provided if the chemicals are heated enough in order for the disaccharide to be hydrolyzed to monosaccharide and then reduce the cupric ions to cuprous ions. So this is the principle of Barfard's test, very much similar to Benedict test, utilizing the property of reducing sugars. Next test that we perform is Selivanov test, and the purpose of this test is to distinguish whether the sugar is a keto sugar or an aldo sugar. The reagents required for this test are resorcinol and concentrated hydrochloric acid. Principle of Selivanov test is very much similar to that of Mollis's test, but with few dissimilarities. In the Mollis's test, the acid was sulfuric acid, but here hydrochloric acid will be used. In the Mollis's test, the condensation agent was alpha naphthol, but over here it will be resorcinol. So carbohydrates are converted to furfural derivatives by concentrated HCl present in the Selivanov test. Only furfural derivatives of ketohexose, that is 5-hydroxymethyl furfurar will condense with resorcinol to give a red colored complex. Now, another peculiar thing about the Selivanov test is that sucrose can also give Selivanov test positive. Why is that? Because sucrose is composed of a glucose and a fructose subunit linked together by glycosidic linkage. So, under the action of this strong acid, sucrose will be hydrolyzed to fructose and glucose. So, fructose can then give a positive Selivanov test. So, the sucrose can also give a positive Selivanov test. Again, important to just memorize observation and inferences, but not these column steps. So, for the Barfois test, if the red precipitate appear within 3 minutes after boiling, then the test is positive and the inference will be monosaccharide present. But if the red precipitate appear after 3 minutes, then the disaccharide will be present. And in the Selivanov test, observation will be appearance of red color, then the keto sugar is present, and if there is no appearance of red color, then an aldose sugar is present. Okay, now we perform the remaining test for carbohydrate. The next test is Barfois test. We perform the Barfois test to differentiate and distinguish between reducing monosaccharides and reducing disaccharides. So for this, we will take 5 ml of Barfois reagent, and we'll add 10 drops of original solution to this. Now we'll shake the test tube and place this test tube in the water bath. Okay, we had placed the test tube in the water bath for 3 minutes. Let's see. So students, you can see at the bottom of this test tube there is appearance of red precipitates. Again, these red precipitates are formed because of cuprous oxide, and this is showing that this sample contains a reducing monosaccharide because in this formation of precipitates had taken place within 3 minutes. If it had been a disaccharide, it would have taken longer time for the formation of precipitates. Okay, now we perform the next test, that is Selivanov's test. And the purpose of doing this test is to differentiate and distinguish between ketose monosaccharide and aldose monosaccharides. So this test helps us in differentiating between ketose and aldose sugar. For this, we'll take 5 ml of Selivanov's reagent. And to this, we'll add 10 drops of original solution. And now we'll heat this test tube for 30 seconds in the water bath. Okay, we have heated this test tube for 30 seconds and let's see. So students, you can see that there is appearance of reddish color in this test, which is showing that the given sample contains a sugar which is a ketose sugar. Okay, student, to sum up all the tests that we have performed here. First of all, we performed the Mollis's test, which was the general test for detection of carbohydrate, and observation in this test was appearance of this ring at the junction of two solutions. And as I told you previously, that you just have to remember these observations and the inferences.
Observation is appearance of purple ring in this test tube. So inference will be carbohydrates are present. So student, the next test that we performed was iodine test, and iodine test is for detection of polysaccharides. So we took two samples for this. One was containing a polysaccharide and the other one was not containing a polysaccharide. So the test tube which contained the polysaccharide gave us the blue color, and one which did not contain the polysaccharide did not show any color change. So the third test that we performed was Benedict test, and Benedict test was the test for differentiating between reducing and non-reducing sugar. And observation for this test is appearance of these red precipitates in the test tube, which is showing that the given sample contain a reducing sugar. Now the next test that we performed was Warfoyt's test, and this test is done to differentiate between reducing monosaccharides and reducing disaccharide. Observation for this test is that appearance of red precipitates at the bottom of this test tube. These precipitates are that of cuprous oxide, and this is showing that the sample contains a reducing monosaccharide. Okay, the last test that we performed was Selivanov's test, and this test is done to differentiate between ketose and aldose sugar, and the appearance of this red color is showing that the sample contains a keto sugar. Thank you.